Markt was a place where they used to sell their fruits and veg back in the day. But if you take Groente Markt and you translate it into English, it actually means the green market square. And the only thing that's really green about this market is the green trees around over here. But if you go between that pink and that yellow building, you go straight down the road, and at the bottom you're going to see there's a Strand Street. Strandstraat. Strand means beach road. So that is the old beach road of Cape Town. So if you had to go down to where that Luno building is, that is your foreshore, built between 1938 to 1970, and that is the new section of Cape Town. If you had to go down that road, you can go down to the Castle of Good Hope, which is the oldest colonial building in South Africa. And if you had to go up that way, you can go down to Green Point, Sea Point. I always get asked where's a nice place to go out in the evening. I always say Green Point, Sea Point.
That's the one way.
To give you a bit of an orientation, alright? So if you had to go down that way, as I say, there's a street there called Strand Street or Strandstraat. If you had to go down that way, then you can go down to the castle. If you had to go up that way, you can go down to the V&A waterfront. Now the V&A waterfront was not a natural harbour. It was actually in 1858, we had 18 boats that sank there in one night. And that is why His Royal Highness Prince Alfred actually came to drop the original rocks or started the V&A waterfront as the harbour. And because of trade sanctions, 1970, 1980, that area went into great disrepair, and that's why if you go to the waterfront today, you see retail, residential, and a working harbour. We created that big entrance. When you went inside, it's still quite small, and you were more likely to invest your money in a bank like that. So that is the old Barclays Bank. And on this side, you're going to see the Standard Bank building. Built in the neoclassical woodline. You can see series at the side. Sunday and a public holiday. Okay guys, then if you're looking right over here, the Adley Street Flower Market is located in the Trafalgar Place, named after the Battle of Trafalgar. And right over here, we've got the statue or memorial for Mr. Thomas Lightfoot. He was an Anglican priest from Australia who opened up the flower market about 160 years ago for the mixed race community of Cape Town. And through all the years of South Africa's history, that flower market has never closed. Even during the years of apartheid, the tourists, they love flowers, so they didn't want to put any strain on South Africa, so they just allowed the flower market to happen. And if you're looking on that side, you've got the Grand Central, and this is the Golden Acre. When they claimed the land from the ocean, this is where the prime properties were actually located, so that's why Grand Central Golden. So the gentleman that I showed you, and I said it was my friend, his name is Mr. Fahmy Solomons, otherwise known as Fluffy. He was born in Boerkaap. He still stays in a house. His parents owned them. And when he was growing up, he says when you grow up in Boerkaap, you learn how to play the ball on the outside the home, and your mom would invite you inside the home to play on the piano. You must remember, that is one way that they grow that sense of community from a very young age. You keep yourself active, you don't get involved in the other things. So when he grew up, he became an incredible sportsman. Going to go play for Western Province junior and senior rugby and cricket team. And in 1980, he was actually chosen by the white president of South Africa's rugby, Mr. Dr. Dani Craven, to play for the white team as an honorary white rugby player. The problem is, he didn't choose to go and play for the white team. He says in 1980, if he had to go play for the white team, he would have turned his back against his community. And the moment that happened, his house in Workup, his home in Constantia, would have been burned to the ground. Today he's a motivational speaker, goes to drug-infested areas and encourages our youth to stay away from drugs and crime. You don't need that, you need to build yourself. So that is one of my good friends.
For the KC1, I'm fine.
Over here, this is really one of the most beautiful buildings in Cape Town. It's called the City Hall. It was built in 1905 using honey-coloured oolic limestones and marble from the city of Bath in England. So at the bottom you can see there's the granite rocks coming from Table Mountain. We've got the two balconies, there's a top one and there's a bottom one. And at the bottom, that is where Nelson Mandela actually spoke to us for the first time. 11 February 1990, the day that he was released. And again on the 9th of May 1994. If you had to go up the way, you're going to see there's a second coat of arms with the 3 golden circles. Now they've introduced the lion and the lady. And underneath it says Spes Bona. Spes Bona means good hope in Latin. And if you're looking at the clock, that is actually half of the size of the Elizabeth Tower. I'm sure you heard about Big Ben. That is the Elizabeth Tower. Big Ben is the bell. This is the clock. It was created on the 6th of October 2017 for Desmond Tutu's 86th birthday. It's 14 chapters of the Constitution coming together as one. Not one chapter of the Constitution can stand alone. And if you look at it in front of it, this is a part of the preamble of our Constitution, a part of what we stand for as South Africans. The other part of it has been stolen, so I wouldn't imagine my country would stand for that. So, then as we're looking at this side of here, you've got to see this white building. This is the House of Parliament. Then you've got Bloemfontein, it's got the High Court. And then you've got Pretoria, that's got the Union Building. Legislation, administration in Pretoria, and judicial in Bloemfontein. There's 3 capitals, 19 came together as one underneath the Union. And if you had to go straight up this road, you can go straight up to the top. It's gone 1.5 kilometers in length. It's called Government Avenue. And you can walk straight into the Mount Nelson Hotel. And that is where you can go for some of the most beautiful high teas in Cape Town at Mount Nelson. Okay guys, we're going to go up the way. I'm going to show us into the Company Gardens, the old refreshment station. Let's go up this way.
Ek soek hom ook nou, ek wil nie uitgaan, ek wil ook nie uitgaan.
communication. That's how it actually, the Khoisan.
The Khoisan are the indigenous people of Southern Africa. And Cape Town, Southern Africa is popular for its cave painting, but we didn't paint as an art form, we painted as a form of communication. So if you do want to hear or see more, my grandfather was one of the last cave painters, and then you can come back because I know my friend there is on a time limit.
Okay, so where we are right now, this is called the Company Gardens. Now if you had to take this back into the indigenous days of South Africa, this was like an oasis. This is where they used to have the flowing of the water, they used to have the cattle and the sheep over here, and this is what attracted the Europeans to South Africa. The first Europeans in our country were in fact the Portuguese. Now the Portuguese, they never set up an establishment because they were defeated in the Battle of Saltrava in 1510. So the Dutch came here and they started this as a refreshment station. That means that they produced a lot of the fruit-bearing trees, because at that time you were going from Europe, you were going towards India to get this spice, and you needed some nutrients, and needed fresh water, and you also needed a place to trade with the indigenous tribes. Then when the English took over, we introduced the Commonwealth tree. So that's why you got about 1,500 different species of plants and animals in these gardens, and many of those are coming from Commonwealth countries. This is a beautiful public garden. This is called the Company Gardens, the Dutch East Indies Company. White person nor a Bantu person. Who are Bantu people? Bantu people are people that moved down from Central Africa because the language group was called the Bantu language, which only during the years of apartheid became known as a derogatory term, which means for the Africans. Now you must remember, the Africans are never citizens of South Africa, they were citizens of the former homeland. And that is why every 4 years they had to go back to the former homeland, so they had to renew the identification document. And the identification document was called a dompas, which means a stupid man's pass. And this would allow you in and out access into town until 5 o'clock in the evening. Whenever you came to town, you had to keep a dompas with you. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there would be a little bell that went off. You'll see all the Africans running down the train station, get out of town. At 1 minute past 5, no more Africans left in town. If you're later than 1 minute past 5, you'd have a letter written by your boss explaining exactly as to why you're late. Otherwise you could spend a period of time in jail in South Africa. So this is non-whites and that's whites only. Okay guys, let's just go. Has this got...
So here in Cape Town, South Africa, and we're up here looking over the city and the harbor and waiting in a long line to go up the cable car to the Table Mountain top. The hour and a half, I think, wait to get it up there, but it looks spectacular. We'll see. Alright, about an hour and a half later, we're at the front of the line. and getting ready to get to the top of the mountain.
Space. Form two lines. For the space of the side as well.
Almost there. Alright, we're almost there. Okay, we're finally boarding the cable car.
Can you please move all the way around? All the way around, please.
I am Chelsea. I'm sorry.
It's a conductor in the middle. Still for 64 passengers and one conductor. And away we go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table Mountain Aerial Cableway. For your own safety, please step away from the signs and let go of the handrails as the flow rotates.
Dreht sich das Ding? Kannst du nicht. Just go next. Don't move. Because they need to make it fair.
So what's interesting is the floor is rotating like a rotating restaurant so that everyone can have a good view.
nicht schlecht.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the complete stop, we have reached the height of 1,067 meters, approximately 3,500 feet above sea level. Tickets that you have, they are return tickets, so please keep them safe for going back down. And as for those who smoke, smoking is only allowed at the 12th Apostles Terrace, situated below the shop at the top. Facing the main building, exit would be on the left side. Thank you.
So here is the amazing view. And down there is the very tip of Africa. There's Cape Town. Amazing. And way over there was the airport. So let's take a walk around Table Mountain. Spectacular views. Wow. Worth the wait. Somebody's doing a little dance. Oh, very good.
Yeah. I mean, I did them already this morning.
Oh yeah, you've done.
I don't know though, because what if I chose a language, got in, and then just decided to try
At least obviously the way to do it, isn't it?
Without the people, it'd be really quiet up here.
Niet, gaan we nog hier.
Does he have a phone with him? Yeah. I don't want to bug him.
You know, I don't want to disturb him if he's.
Eiffel Tower is cool.
No.
Two shores. So here is a spectacular view of Cape Town. And the island out there in the bay, Robben Island, Seal Island, which was a prison where Nelson Mandela was held prisoner for many, many years. And it's a museum now, and I'm not going to have time to go take the trip to see that, but Cape Town really is amazing. And we're leaving Table Mountain, going back down into Cape Town.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and again, for your safety, please step away from the signs and let go of the handrails as the flow rotates.
Well, remember you said that it's zip.